Jonathan Lemire, while we were sleeping, news breaking.
Yeah, there is a lot to get to this morning, and we'll begin with that breaking news. A top Israeli official says that Iran has completely violated the ceasefire just hours after it went into effect. Officials claim that Tehran launched more missiles into Israeli territory. No injuries, though, have been reported. Iran is denying that it violated the agreement. But now the IDF has been instructed to respond forcefully with strikes against the Iranian government targets in the heart of Tehran. This comes just 2 hours after Israel officially accepted the ceasefire deal with Iran, and President Trump claimed that the agreement was in effect. Now, Trump first announced the deal yesterday evening, saying Iran will halt its attacks first, then Israel will start the ceasefire, bringing an end to, in his words, an official end to the 12-day war. Iran said last night it's willing to stop hostilities if Israel does the same. But shortly afterwards, Israel reported a barrage of missiles that were launched from Tehran. At least 5 people were killed in that strike. Then, overnight, Israeli forces announced that they destroyed missile launchers in western Iran that they say were aimed towards Israeli territory. The attacks then stopped until just moments ago, when Israel said it detected another Iranian barrage. Now, even earlier in the day, before the ceasefire was announced, Iran launched missiles at the United States Air Base in Qatar. Both the U.S. and Qatar were informed about the strike before it happened. Air defenses shot down 13 of the 14 missiles, while the remaining one reportedly posed no threat. It was let go. No casualties reported. Iran's telegraphed assault outside of populated areas suggested it was prepared to reduce tensions while also trying to save face among its own population. In a very lengthy post on social media, President Trump thanked Iran for giving early notice of the strike, which he described as very weak. So, Joe, let's underscore this. The United States, of course, hit these Iranian targets on Saturday, inflicting damage, not sure how much,
right,
but significant damage on its nuclear sites. There was a sense that Iran would strike back. The question is, how much? Turned out pretty limited, pretty face-saving measure yesterday at the U.S. base in Qatar. Telegraphed in advance, the U.S. was able to easily pick it down. The question then, was Trump going to respond? The answer, at least for the moment, is no. But now we, of course, wait to see if indeed the ceasefire has already been broken.
Well, I mean, I'm curious your thoughts. It would seem to me that certainly the feeling from those I talked to yesterday around the region, the feeling is Iran, and it's already a cliche 24 hours into it, but Iran doesn't have, quote, any cards to play or many cards to play. So a ceasefire makes sense to them. You heard Israel talking, sort of edging up to this ceasefire moment, saying that they've achieved most of their strategic goals. I'm curious your thoughts. So with Donald Trump in the middle of these two, with Iran certainly not wanting to encourage further U.S. attacks, and we saw that yesterday with how the Qatar strikes played out. I guess the question is, will the president be able to keep Israel locked in, along with Iran, locked in to this ceasefire deal? Obviously, there are going to be elements in Iran that are going to want to push back against this as well.
Yeah, well, as you and I discussed yesterday, and as I then later reported in the day for The Atlantic, I mean, President Trump, he kind of wanted this to be a one-off. He did the strikes on Saturday, hoping that would be it. His hand would be forced if Iran were to retaliate forcefully. The sense then would be, well, the U.S. would have to hit back. But Iran's response was so limited and, frankly, weak that the U.S. was able, Trump was able to use the words of a senior advisor, take the win and move on. Didn't need to escalate further. And then he's really banking and betting big on this ceasefire, something he really wants. He wants these hostilities to end. Feels like the mission was accomplished, although, again, there are questions remaining about the fate of the Iranian nuclear program, but hoping hostilities would end. But it is a fast-moving, fluid situation. So let's bring in NBC News Chief International Correspondent Keir Simmons now, live from Iraq. Keir, good to see you. As we just discussed, a lot of unknowns right now. What's the very latest there from the region in terms of the state of play?
Yeah, it is a little murky right now. We do have some reports of strikes on camps, sites here in Iraq. Those reports, too, that the Iranians have fired on Israel, the Iranians saying that is not the case, but it is a dramatic escalation just hours after the Israeli government announced that it agreed with the president's announcement that there would be a ceasefire, and it was a fulsome statement just hours ago, remember this, from the Israeli government saying that the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had convened the cabinet, that Israel has eliminated a dual immediate existential threat, both in the nuclear field and in the realm of ballistic missiles. So effectively, Israel declaring victory and saying, OK, good for us, we're done here. And then these reports of the Iranian, according to the Israelis, breaking the ceasefire. I should say that at the very same time, the Iranians, through Iranian state media, appear to be saying that the Israelis broke the ceasefire. One of the clues to this might be, if you now what seems like an age ago, but was literally some 12 hours ago, if you think back to the President Trump's post on Truth Social, the timing was a little confusing about which side was going to stop when, and so once you have that kind of slightly unclear picture of how it's supposed to work, you then potentially risk both sides accusing the other of breaking it. Now, I'm told by a diplomat with knowledge of the talks here in the region that this may be a shake in the ceasefire rather than an end to the ceasefire, that this may be both sides are going to hit each other once and then they're done. But I think another aspect of all of this, though, is the strike that Iran carried out on Beersheba overnight, which appears to have been just before the ceasefire. That was inflicted real deadly impact in Israel. Last I checked, there was a report of 5 dead. So that, I think, has left the Israelis pretty furious just at the moment when they are agreeing to cessation.